Welcome to Black Belt Beauty Radio, a podcast fueled by a passion to support your journey in developing your most beautiful and optimal performance in life. Each episode is driven with the intention to elevate your mind. When we elevate our mind, we elevate our life. So get ready. It's time to rise. What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. I'm sneaking in a Solosode. It's kind of on the fly and in the moment. I just, a few things have popped up into my mind from some recent experiences that I felt would be cool to share with you guys and perhaps interject some encouragement and support in your process. So I'm going to just get after it right now. But before anything, I just want to say thank you so much again. I've been receiving such rad feedback on the podcast, and it fills me up and fuels my process like I can't even express. It means so much to me, and I truly am just getting started. I mean, I don't even feel like I've scratched the surface of what I know is going to come from this podcast. It's really exciting. I'm so inspired, and thank you again for the support. It means so much to me. Okay, so yesterday I was training, and I was in such an interesting mood, kind of like deep in thought and super focused. It was actually kind of funny. My headphones are really good, and I was staring out the window thinking about my podcast, actually. And I was so deep in thought that when somebody came up and tapped me from behind, and fucking elbow was about to go in the face, boom, it's and I felt so bad because I literally had my arm in that position of I'm going to swing my elbow backwards and hit you. And it was this, kind of, I don't know, it was this woman basically who just looked at me so fearfully, like, holy shit. And I was like, oh my God, I felt so bad in that moment, but I was so deep in my thought that in that moment, and I heard nothing, which, by the way, I think is a good idea to say, for anybody else like me who likes their music on high and so much where you can't hear anything. I don't know if that's a really safe idea. So I think that I'm going to call myself out, and maybe that inspires others that do the same thing to always keep a little space to be able to hear, if someone's creeping up behind you, especially if you're outdoors, you never know. So note to myself. Anyways, I'm about to hit this woman, but I stop, and she looks like, holy shit. I think she peed her pants in that moment because it was that real. And anyways, we calmed down, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, and she's like, no, it's okay. She's like, I was at I don't know the name of the actual machine, but basically I have this special kind of strap that I can put around my foot and my heel to do full leg extension kickbacks for my glutes, right? And so I was stationed there, and she had noticed what I was doing, and she didn't realize that I had my own special strap, and she wanted to share the other space with me where you could do that. But that particular section had just the basic handle, and she was trying to put her foot in the handle, and I was like, oh no, you this is my own strap, but you're more than welcome to use it, as soon as I'm done. And she was like, okay. So I let her use it, and I move on to a machine that is kind of positioned in a way where I can watch her, do that move. But I'm not really watching her. I'm just in my moment, focused and doing my moves. But I do glance at her because I can see that she's setting up, and and she had said that she had never done that before. So now I'm watching her, and she's got it on low weight setting, or she set it to the lowest weight, and she's trying. I see her put her foot in and try and go up, and then I watch her shake her head and just stop. And then all of a sudden, she's crying. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, this one, is she listening to something sad, or she's going through something? But, I'm not nosy, and I'm just, I'm not judging by any means. I'm just kind of noticing, observing. And she unstraps her foot and she walks away, and she walks towards me, and she has tears running down her face, and she says, "Thank you." I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, you know what? I sprained my ankle. I'm injured and I just can't do anything. I haven't been able to work out, and I'm losing muscle." And she was just so distraught. She was so upset, and I felt for her in that moment. I've definitely had injuries in my life. I've mentioned it here before. I've had 3 knee surgeries. I broke a little bone in my foot called a sesamoid. It's so funny. It's like the smallest little bone that controls your toe, my big toe, and I did it in jiu-jitsu. And that was a couple years ago. And so I had to wear a boot on my foot. It was just, oh my gosh, it's the worst, especially when you're super active. And now all of a sudden you can't, you can't do what you were doing. So, in that moment, I just looked at her. I had a lot of strength in paired with compassion. And I just looked at her and I said, in my life, in my experience, when I've been injured, I can say this now, and maybe I didn't know it in the beginning stages of when I experienced injuries in my life, like my knee. I didn't know. I was so young. I wasn't on this level yet. But when my sesamoid happened, this was like the turning point of how I respect. It helped me understand and kind of view injuries from a very different perspective. Whereas before, when I just felt so frustrated and like, fuck, I can't do anything. So what I had told her is that in my experience, injuries are an opportunity for us to step outside of the ways, the patterns, the things that we're so used to doing, even if it's the things that we love to do, and focus ourselves in a different direction. There's always you can work around it in some way, shape, or form, right? And I found that every time I shifted and had to focus somewhere else, that new focus put me on a path that was so perfect and meant for me to be on, because it actually developed me in it advanced me, basically. So the example is when I was when I had broken my sesamoid. Yeah, I couldn't train jiu-jitsu and I couldn't run. At the time, I was so heavily focused on cardio. And so, the only thing that I could do is, keep pressure off my foot. I still hit the elliptical with a boot, I ain't gonna lie. But I was so focused on like body weight movement and, lighter resistance. I wasn't doing the heavy yet, but I was doing a lot of band work and just really, staying off my feet, but really focusing on mobility and alignment. And I got such a deeper connection to my body from that phase that I entered. And it has served me so well. So what was so cool is when I was expressing this to her and sharing my story and really kind of, letting her know that, where she is a good place. And even though it might not feel that way, it's an opportunity. And oftentimes, more often than not, we make things harder on ourselves than they fucking need to be. It's like you're already in a tough position, Why? And she had said to me, I'm losing muscle and, I couldn't do anything last week. And I looked at her and I said, why are you looking at last week? You're here now. Look to tomorrow. Why go backwards? It's already done. And muscle loss is, you can gain it back. And it was so cool because I looked in her eyes, and as I was saying these things to her, I saw her eyes change. I saw hope. It was real. I have chills right now when I say it. The frown on her face stopped. And she looked invigorated again. Like, yeah, you're right. Fuck yeah. I really, really, really felt that from her. And that, you guys, those moments served me so deeply. And, like I said, I'm not nosy. I wasn't trying to be in her business, but she was vulnerable and she shared it with me and I could relate to her. So I offered my my story, my experience, and somewhat of a reminder that, she can ride this out. This is a temporary moment. And I think that that's something that I really wanted to just kind of capture. I don't know if, whoever's out there and has an injury or is just going through a hard time that is kind of, not allowing yourself to kind of be in that state that your ideal state, or the state that you're used to being in, and you have to shift. And maybe that shift means you have to pause. Maybe the shift means, like, maybe you're so busy with work right now and family that you can't get to your training the way that you typically do or would like to. That's such a common thing, so I'm using that as an example. My advice, just my advice, is don't beat yourself up over it. The fucking resistance that I experience so many people adding to what is already not an easy situation is like, it's throwing gasoline on the fire. It's unnecessary. If anything, I think in those moments, loving yourself and supporting yourself through the process, reminding yourself, this is just a moment and I can get through this. I can get around this. I can get past this. I got this. It's actually the time when I feel like it's the most important time to be so good to yourself, and know that, again, it's just a moment that's going to pass. And so, like I showed her some stuff with the bands. I love resistance bands. I was like, look, you don't even need to be on your feet, and do not get it twisted. Like, this stuff actually does make a difference. Whether you're growing muscle, that's a different story, but you can at least maintain your lean muscle, doing these moves properly and consistently. And before you know it, you might find a new love in this process, with your training and with your, the connection to your body. And then before you know it, you're going to be able to put the pressure back on your foot again, and it's going to be fine. And so anyways, it was a really beautiful moment. Those moments for me, they're just so special. And so I thought that, I don't know, I felt inspired to share it, because I know that she's not the only one. For sure, there's so many people out there that, are going through a similar situation, or like I said, maybe it's not that exact thing. Maybe it's not a physical injury, but it's just, a shift off of your ideal scenario in the moment. And I wanted to, I guess, create the Solosode to be a message of support and a reminder that make it easy on yourself, and know that you can. You have the option. You have the choice to either make it harder or make it easier for yourself. And, one extra little piece that I want to amplify there is, fuck looking back. Unless looking back fuels you and like inspires you and gives you motivation. Like, maybe you're looking back and you're like, I got through that. So if I can get through that, then I can get through this. That's, in my opinion, the only time that we really need to be looking back. Because if it's something like, I'm going to use this example because it's such a common one. I hear it all the time in relation to diet. And there's never any judgment. It's just a really interesting observation. So I hear so many people say all the time, I was eating so good. I was eating so clean. I was so on it. And then I got so busy, or this happened. And then, and there's so much defeat when they replay how they shifted from their quote unquote, like, great moment with their diet. And there's more focus on that shift, on that kind of, the feelings of negative feelings, from straying from their great moment, than there is energy going towards their opportunity and option to get back on it. It's like, it's kind of like, for me, I feel like people who do that are essentially holding themselves as prisoners in this space that doesn't feel good. Like, why do you want to go back and keep reliving, I was so good, and then, like, forget about the and then. Just, I was so good, life happened, and I'm going to kick ass again at it. Because that's the truth, you guys. Like, we can stop at any minute and change the fucking channel. And decide like, this is the channel that I want to be watching. You know what? I ate sugar all last week and it didn't feel good, but guess what? That was last week. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to, hold back off the sugar again. I don't know. I'm making an example. The point is like with the woman, when she said, I couldn't work out all last week, and stop, just look forward. I say it all the time on Black Belt Beauty, and I'm going to continuously say it all the time, because I'm a firm believer that wherever we're looking is where we're going. And so if you want to go forward, you know what you need to do. Yeah. So, damn. When I feel it, I am just feeling it, and I am sharing it. So I don't know. I mean, you guys, I hope it did something. I hope it positively added something of value to your process, to your mindset, to your life. Yeah, that's my sole intention here. So, and on that note, I'm going to go get my training on and have a kick-ass day. But I'm going to sign off, sending you so much love and high fives, and thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate you so much, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for taking the time to check out this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please share it with your friends. Head over to iTunes, subscribe to this podcast, rate it, leave me an honest review. Let's connect. I am so excited to do that in this space and really create content that elevates your mind in support of your best performance in life. You can find me on Instagram at Black Belt Beauty. I'm active there every single day, and I look forward to connecting with you all. So thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.